All right now, secured entrepreneurs, it is Money Monday. Yes, it's Money Monday around these parts here. You all have been emailing Miss Aurorah, and I thank you for emailing. Please continue to do so at info@aurorahdayconsulting.com. And you're saying, Miss Aurorah, what is going on with the Series I bond that's in the news? It's all over. Every time I get on the internet, somebody's telling me that I need this Series I bond. What is it? What's going on with it? Is it a good investment? Should we leave it alone? What should we do? Okay, in this video, Ms. Aurorah is going to give you the breakdown on this Series I bond, why it is that you should be investing in this bond. Hello? Yes. So for those of you who do not know who I am Miss Aurorah Dey, and this is the Secured Entrepreneur Movement. All right, now let Miss Aurorah make a few things clear about the Series I bond. First of all, it is the Series I bond because it is affectionately known as the inflation bond. Okay, so we see that the inflation rate is 9.62%. That is the rate that has been given to this bond. Here's the little glitch. Anyone who intends to partake in this Series I bond at this time has until October the 28th to lock in on the 9.62% inflation rate. Now, let me back it up a bit because the Series I bond is not new, okay? Series I bond has two rates, okay? One is a fixed rate. The other is the inflation rate. Now, the fixed rate is going to remain the same throughout the life of the Series I bond. However, the inflation rate will change twice a year. Every 6 months it's going to change, okay? The inflation rate is announced by the Fiscal Service, and it's going to change in May and November, okay? So this is the reason why you have until October the 28th to lock in the 9.62% rate that is going on right now, because the rate is going to change in November. And that's the thing about the Series I bond. Okay, when the inflation rate changes, the rate of 9.62% will also change. However, the fixed rate will remain the same. I want you to really understand that, because many of you who were emailing were saying, oh my gosh, I can hold on to this bond for 5 years, okay, and I'm going to cash in on the 9.62% rate. That is not the case, okay? That inflation rate is going to change November the 1st, and then it's going to change April the 1st, like that, okay? So it's semi-annual, twice a year. Every 6 months, the inflation rate is going to change. So if the inflation rate goes down, okay, now you will experience the lesser rate. And that's just how that thing works. Okay? The Series I bond gets a yes and another yes from Miss Aurorah, simply because it is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States, and it is helping to preserve our buying power of up to $10,000. Now, let me explain how this is working. Now, you can purchase a Series I bond two ways. One is to purchase a paper bond. That is not what I would tell a secured entrepreneur to do. Why? Because that would entail making the purchase via a tax return, okay? The electronic way, to which is the way that I would tell the secured entrepreneur to purchase, you would go on to Treasury Direct, okay? Go on to Treasury Direct and purchase this bond electronically, so that if in fact you decide you want to invest $10,000, okay, you have the option to do that. When you do the paper bond, it's starting with the increments of $50 with your tax return, and then you could only buy up to $5,000 on the paper. But the electronic Series I bond, yes, you can invest up to $10,000. Okay, now here's the juice. Now let's get into the juice. How many of the secured entrepreneurs know that your business entities can purchase these Series I bonds, okay? So I'm not talking to individuals. We all know the Secured Entrepreneur Movement. We talk to the entrepreneurs who are properly structured, okay? So, for example, if you've got 5 LLCs, you got 2 trusts, each and every one of those entities can purchase a Series I bond up to $10,000, and that would mean that each entity would have their own bank account. Okay, so we get a lot of questions that because some people are into that Series LLC thing. Only a few states actually do it, but we get a lot of questions about that. In this situation, when you want to purchase up to the $10,000, that would be for each separate entity that has its own bank account. So it's not a commingled situation, because I know that's going to be the next question after this video. Okay, so yes, if in fact you have an interest in the Series I bond, you can purchase up to $10,000, okay, via each business entity that you control, okay? So whether that be an anonymous LLC, a corporation, or a trust, okay? Those entities can purchase up to $10,000. Now, let me get into the tax, because that's coming. The Series I bond is subject to federal income tax, not state, not state tax. So if you live in a state that also charges state tax, state income tax, you will not be subject to that on the Series I bond, okay? So what's happening here is this, because I'm not going to talk to the individual, because there's tax benefits for the individuals who will purchase a Series I bond. So I want to talk to the secured entrepreneur who understands that we are utilizing every tax deferral strategy known to man when this bond is cashed in. Now, in order to collect the full interest, you must hold on to this bond for a good 5 years, okay? And you can cash that bond in after a year. You got to hold the bond for at least a year, then you can cash in, but you won't get the full interest that it would accumulate in the 5 years, okay? So what's happening here? Your entity has control over this Series I bond, okay, for 5 years. Then your entity cashes in this bond. Well, we can defer the taxation by moving the proceeds, the profits, from one entity into another entity. You can pass the tax through to, and it might be another tax-exempt entity, okay? If you do not know what Ms. Aurorah is talking about, go down below in the links, get the Secured Entrepreneur Activation course. That's going to set you up everything that you need to know, how to protect your business, how to protect yourself, how to protect your wealth, okay? And how to start your wealth cycles to begin to accumulate tax-free wealth, all right? Or if you're advanced, you go and get the Trust Basics course, okay? And in that course, we're going over the irrevocable trust, the religious trust. So we do a lot of those around here. And then we talk to you about how to start creating your wealth cycle. So make sure you go down below and get those links, okay? So that's why we actually love to make these kinds of investments, because it works in our favor all the time. So for the secured entrepreneurs who do have an interest in the Series I bond, please go to Treasury Direct, okay? And once again, each of your entities can purchase up to $10,000. You hold on to that bond for at least 5 years. Now, like I'm saying, the 9.62% is happening up until October the 28th. November the 1st is going to change. April the 1st is going to change. Every 6 months, the inflation rate is going to change. So please be mindful of that, okay? So that's what Ms. Aurorah wants to share in this video. You know you can find me, Ms. Aurorah Dey, at AurorahDeyConsulting.com. And until next time,